By the end of this video, I will show you a powerful automation workflow that automatically tracks your key metrics like monthly recurring revenue, churn rate, lifetime value, and customer acquisition cost. Even better, it delivers weekly summaries and alerts whenever something important changes. Whether you are a founder, product manager, or growth hacker, this is how you stay on top of your numbers without drowning in dashboards. Let's get straight into it. We have a fast API endpoint that is providing us the KPI data that's basically coming from our Postgres, and we are going to use n8n automation tool to send automated email digest for us. If you guys are new here, please consider subscribing. This video is also part of Full Stack AI Engineer Bootcamp course where we are building a full stack AI application. First of all, let's open our workflow just like that. Basically, we can have a manual trigger for this as well. For example, we can manually say, hey, I want to execute this. What is my KPI right now? Or we can also schedule the trigger. If you click on here, I have scheduled this to run every minute, but this can also be changed to every week. So you can see trigger weeks and trigger on Sundays, midnight interval time. We can delete that. But for testing purpose, I'm going to change this to every minute. We see what is happening exactly. So I'm going to go back. But like I said earlier, we can change this to weekly or any time of your choice. So let's go back here. Then this is technically a manual trigger. We can click here and execute the workflow. But if you do not really want it, we can delete it. This part is totally optional. Let's go to the next stage. It says get data from API. And what exactly happening here? Well, let's click on this node. As soon as the workflow gets triggered, we are pulling data from our API. And what is our API? Let's click our fast API. Let's go to this KPI, get all KPI data. I'm running my fast API in localhost. Let's click on execute. We are getting a JSON response of our KPI data from the localhost. As soon as this workflow gets triggered, we are pulling data from the API. Let's open that one more time. Just enter the method get. The URL is going to be host docker.internal because this is the host of my fast API. If you are running this on a local host, you can put localhost, or if you have a remote API, you can also use that. And if you are running in a Docker n8n but localhost fast API, this is how it's gonna be. And as we can see, there's no authentication implemented right now, so that's the reason we don't have authentication here. But if you need authentication, we can also do generate credential type and then use basic or bearer authentication. But for now, we're going to pass that because we didn't have authentication for our API. Okay, let's execute the previous node. Let's click here. As you can see, it successfully pulled data from our API, and this is our response. Right? We just saw earlier in the documentation, so our documentation, that this is the JSON response. We can confirm the data schema matches. Let's click on table, appears nicely here. So that's great. Let's go to the next stage. The next step is about the processing and analyzing data. So we can start this block by going to this plus icon and choose code. Okay, this is the code section, but since we already have that, I'm gonna delete that. Okay, this is the code block. It just processes and analyzes data that we got from our API. Okay, let's double click on this icon. It's gonna expand to a bigger window. This section contains the incoming data from a previous node. Metrics is an object with entries like monthly recurring revenue, churn rate. The second section is about the setup, how we are setting up. This summary is where we store our result, and good when up means this is a list of KPI where an upward trend is considered good. For example, more revenue. Well, that's good, right? Then we are looping through each and every metric like churn rate and active users. And we are skipping if there is not enough data to compare. For example, if a metric does not have at least 2 data points, we are just ignoring it. We are calculating the percentage change. Basically, it compares most recent versus second most recent values. For example, let's say if we change from 100 to 120, that's change of 20%. And then we are looking for the direction. Where is it going? What's the orientation of our data? It's basically calculating the direction first. And if the change is positive, we are orienting that to our upward direction. And if change is negative, we are orienting that to the downward direction. Now let's look at the sentiment evaluation. How we are determining the sentiment? Well, the sentiment is basically whether the direction of change is good or bad depending on the metric. For example, if there is MRR going up, well, that's good. If the churn rate is going up, that's not good, right? So just because all the data goes up doesn't mean it's good for the business. So we consider churn rate going up is bad, but churn rate going down is good. Finally, we are formatting the values. In here, it displays the numbers nicely. We are building the summary entry, how we are returning the summary. Great. So this block is done. Now let's go back to our canvas and see what happens in the next block, which is also the same block. It is creating a email template for us. Okay, let's click on the same button to expand to a bigger window. Here we are getting the summary from the last node, and basically it's defined in color here. All the styling is done in this section, and all the HTML template is rendered here, and the value or the auto variables are resolved in this section. There's not much going on here other than resolving variables. Basically we are pulling data from the summary and mapping those data appropriately. Finally, there is a node called send a message. Okay, let's click on that. So send a message is a Gmail node. So how do we connect our Gmail node? Well, basically go to this button and create a Gmail action. Click on this button. There's different type of action you can choose. Let's click on send a message. Okay, and it will give you a new window. For us, we need to set up the Gmail account and set up the Gmail auth to API. Enable the API for this. If you need help, there's a video on how to configure this. Make sure to check that out. But if this is configured, we can just say to, from, and subject and map the data properly. Okay, we are now good to do our demo. This is done as following. Okay, let's see how this node is working one more time. So we are connecting our credential to connect to the Gmail account. Resource is a message, right? But there's other. Let's try the manual workflow first. You can see there's a yellow highlight going on. What's going on here? Let's see. Well, the output node parameters have changed test node again to refresh output. Okay, let's execute this step. It says done, sent. It must have sent an email for us. We'll see that in some time. But for now, let's save it and let's try to test end to end. Great. So let's test the manual trigger, meaning we can trigger the workflow whenever we want. Just that. Click on execute, or just simply click on here and click on when clicking workflow. Let's click this button, execute workflow. It's gonna trigger the workflow successfully. There we go. It says that. Now let's go to our inbox and try to see if we've received the email. It's from previous time. You can see it's sent to, there we go. I think the recent one is the one. So it says weekly KPI digest for GivingbackAI co-founder agent. And here is your automated performance summary. And this is how we are sending the digest. If you notice here, this report was generated automatically by n8n and this email was sent. So I want to get rid of this. How do you do that? Let's go back to our n8n code. Let's click on this create email template, expand it one more time. And I want to return that this section, this report was automatically generated by n8n, right? So let's remove that. And let's go back to canvas. And here I want to click on this annotation, click on append n8n attribution, then turn it off. Okay. Now let's go back to canvas, save it, tidy things up, and execute the workflow. There we go. It's sent the message. Now let's check for the new email. If it sent, yeah, this is a new one. Now we do not see the footer with any message. Great. So what about scheduling a trigger, right? Right now we are setting it up to run every minute. Okay, let's do that. Let's test for that as well. So to schedule the trigger for automated messages, what we need to do is we need to make our workflow active, and it will give you this pop-up which says workflow activated, and it will now trigger the schedule trigger. Okay, done. So the message got it. Now let's save it. Let's wait for a minute. Okay, let's refresh. And there we go. So we are now getting the email every minute. So if I leave it on, it will be a big problem. So let me turn it off, and we might want to change this to let's say every week, send it once at midnight, or we can trigger whenever we want. Let's do 8 a.m. All right, let's do Sunday morning 8 a.m. and let's go back to Canvas, save it. Congratulations, we just created an automated email digest system using n8n. If you like this video, please consider subscribing. It helps the channel a lot, and please consider checking out our AI engineer bootcamp course. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.